Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Psych. That boy's got too much skills for me, buddy.
Yo, the streets are buzzing. Kelly Rowland just dropped a bombshell, and it's the kind of tea fans been low-key craving for years. This ain't your average celebrity drama. We're talking secrets locked away tight, whispers of a rocky relationship, and heavy pressure from the industry that had her staying quiet for way too long. And get this, there's a wild theory that's been heating up for a while now. Folks are straight up saying the father of Kelly's son might not be her husband, but Jay-Z. Yep, that's the secret people been dying to uncover, a Destiny's Child level twist that's got everyone gasping. Now that Kelly's finally speaking up, Hollywood is spinning. Let's rewind real quick. Kelly Rowland was born February 11th, 1981 in Atlanta, Georgia. When she was just a kid, her mom, Doris Rowland Garrison, packed their bags and walked out on her dad, Christopher Lovett, who was battling some deep personal struggles. They dipped out and started fresh in Houston, Texas, and that's where everything flipped. In Houston, Kelly got super close with Beyonce, like real sister-type close. She even moved in with Bey's fam for a while, and Tina Knowles became like her second mom. That bond was deep, like for real. Kelly had music running through her veins since she was little. By the early 90s, she jumped into the scene by joining a girl group called Girls Tyme. But let's be honest, it wasn't all lights and sparkle at first. They took a major L on Star Search and even got dropped by their first label. Tough times. But then came the game changer. Beyonce's dad, Matthew Knowles, stepped in as their manager. That move flipped the whole script. He locked in a deal with Columbia Records, and just like that, the come-up began. In 1997, they dropped their first single right around the Men in Black craze, and shortly after, they smashed through with No, No, No. Boom. They blew up almost overnight. Destiny's Child became a full-blown global takeover. Their second album, The Writing's on the Wall, went wild with hits like Bills, Bills, Bills and Say My Name. That album didn't just chart, it snapped. Say My Name pulled in 2 Grammy Awards and had everybody belting out the lyrics like it was the national anthem. But behind all the glitter, things got messy. Some of the original members bounced, new faces came in, and drama followed close behind. Tension? All over the place. Still, Destiny's Child kept delivering hit after hit like nothing could shake them. And when they finally went their separate ways, Kelly didn't just fade into the shadows. Nah, she was just getting started. Kelly didn't just slide into the background. Nah, she stepped straight into her own spotlight. She launched her solo career with serious heat, linking up with some of the biggest names in the game. Her biggest smash? No question. It was Dilemma with Nelly. That track owned the charts and held down the #1 spot like it paid rent. As time rolled on, Kelly stayed on her grind. She dropped music, took on acting roles, and even sat on the judging panel for major TV talent shows. But behind all those red carpet smiles, she was carrying some heavy pain. She hadn't seen her father in 30 years, and that cut deep. She felt straight up abandoned and torn up inside. But becoming a mom changed something in her. It made her want closure. Losing her own mom back in 2014 shattered her. And that heartbreak pushed her to finally reach out to the man she'd stayed away from for decades. And guess who had her back during that emotional storm? Jay-Z. Yep, he gave her the support she needed to face all that old hurt. When she finally reconnected with her dad, all those years of silence just disappeared. They talked for hours, like no time had passed, and that pain started to ease. But now, people are buzzing all over again. The streets are talking, rumors are flying that Jay-Z might actually be the real father of Kelly's son. Things hit a whole new level when Jay-Z pulled up to the LA premiere of The Harder They Fall. He hit the carpet, cameras flashing, and then, boom! He locked eyes with Kelly Rowland. At first, it looked like he didn't even recognize her, like she was just another face in the crowd. But then, boom! Jay-Z's whole vibe flipped in a second. He lit up like someone hit a switch, and fans caught every single moment on camera. Social media lost it. Folks been saying for years that Jay-Z and Kelly were close. But that moment had people raising eyebrows, wondering if there's way more to the story than anyone ever admitted. Thing is, this rumor ain't fresh. It's been drifting through the industry for years, even decades. People whispering that Jay and Kelly might have been more than just friends. And the biggest reason fans won't let it go? Kelly's son, Titan. People keep saying he looks exactly like Jay-Z. This talk's been going strong for 5 years, and instead of dying down, it's just turning up. The internet's been in detective mode, zooming in on Titan's photos, analyzing every detail, the nose, the eyes, the smile, and fans swear it's a Jay-Z clone, and now it's getting even messier. Some folks online are dragging Beyonce's fans too, saying they're just pretending not to see the resemblance. And the comments? Straight up wild. Some are even calling Kelly Becky #2, throwing it all the way back to those old cheating scandals. Others are out here claiming Titan looks more like Jay-Z than his own kids. Whether this stuff is fact or just straight gossip, one thing's clear. These rumors aren't slowing down. And now more people are starting to seriously wonder what's real. One person online even tried to cool it down, dropping a theory on how Titan might look like Jay-Z without it meaning there was anything shady going on. Someone online tried to shut the talk down like, look, I don't think Kelly and Jay-Z were ever a thing. He's not even her type. But even they had to admit, Titan does kind of resemble both Jay-Z and Blue Ivy. And that right there had people side-eyeing hard. But here's the twist. When you line up Titan next to his real dad, the resemblance hits instantly. Especially when you dig up old pics of his dad from back in the day. It's like a mirror image. Same features, same vibe. Clear as daylight. Kelly's been dodging wild rumors for years. First, folks tried to box her in as just Beyonce's background support. The so-called little sis always standing in the queen's shadow. But now, the gossip took a whole crazy turn. People online are whispering that her son might actually be the child of Beyonce's husband. That's a whole different kind of chaos. And get this isn't the first time Jay-Z's name got dragged into paternity drama. Another messy story's been floating for years. A guy named Rowland Satterthwaite has been claiming that he's actually Jay-Z's secret son. Rowland says his mom had a fling with Jay-Z when she was just 16. He and his people been trying to get proof forever, but Jay-Z, he's never taken a paternity test. And that silence, it's got the internet talking louder than ever. Instead of just taking the test and putting it to rest, Jay-Z allegedly used legal moves to shut it down. That kicked off a legal battle that's been dragging on for over a decade. Jay-Z kept denying he's Remir's dad, saying the New Jersey courts had zero authority to force him into a DNA test. That whole back and forth just made people even more suspicious. Remir and his godmother, Dr. Lily Coley, felt like something was way off. They were convinced Jay-Z was hiding the truth, and they weren't about to just let it go. From the jump, they kept pushing, hoping the courts would finally dig into what really went down. But early on, even they admitted they didn't have enough solid proof to go full throttle. They were basically building a case with scraps. Still, they kept going, but lately, things got real. Remir and Lily flipped the table. They filed a lawsuit, this time going after the judges in New Jersey. They claimed those judges were never playing fair. According to them, the whole system was leaning Jay-Z's way from day one, helping him shut everything down before it could even begin. They said the court never gave them a real chance and that Jay-Z used his fame, power, and deep pockets to make it all disappear. And it didn't stop there. They said chasing this truth cost them over $100,000. And after all that, still no answers. But then came the real shocker. Remir and Lily claimed Jay-Z's legal team slapped illegal liens on their house. They say it was a shady move that forced them to pay money they didn't even owe. They called it dirty, saying all they ever wanted was justice. Not cash, not clout, just the truth. Lily didn't hold back either. She pointed to two major red flags. First, she said Jay-Z allegedly had a relationship with a girl who was just 16 at the time. Second, that same girl got pregnant. Lily believes that if Jay-Z ever took that DNA test and it came back positive, the fallout wouldn't just hit his image. It could bring serious legal heat. She also said Jay-Z could have handled all of this quietly and respectfully behind closed doors. But instead, he turned his back and left the whole thing in limbo. No answers, just silence, and more questions than ever. For years, Wanda, the mother of Remir, never changed her story, not once. From day one, she stood firm. All she ever wanted was for her son to know the truth about where he came from. Wanda claimed she had a physical relationship with Jay-Z back in 1992 when he was still going by the name Rock. She said they first met in Philly, and later he brought her out to Brooklyn. Not long after that, she got pregnant. Everything was kept quiet for years. But once Ramir got older and started asking questions, the whole legal roller coaster kicked off. On paper, a man named Robert Graves, Wanda's on-again, off-again boyfriend, was listed as Ramir's father. But deep down, Wanda knew that wasn't the truth. And that's the truth they've been chasing ever since. Then in 2011, everything flipped. A DNA test proved that Robert Graves was not Ramir's father. That changed the game. After that, Wanda became even more determined to prove Jay-Z was the real dad. She went all in, fighting to get her side of the story heard. But tragically, Wanda passed away before she ever got the closure she deserved. And even after her death, the whispers didn't stop. Some insiders went as far as to claim that Jay-Z might have had something to do with her passing. Wild, right? Now let's bring this back to Kelly Rowland, because she dropped a song that had fans shook to their core. She released a raw, emotional track called Dirty Laundry from her album Talk a Good Game. And it wasn't just a song, it sounded like a full-on confession. That song? It ripped the curtain all the way back on Kelly's real-life pain, and it hit different. In the lyrics, Kelly opened up about being trapped in a toxic, abusive relationship. She didn't sugarcoat a thing. She talked about how it broke down her confidence, messed with her head, and even put major strain on her bond with her Destiny's Child sisters, especially Beyonce. That dirty laundry line wasn't just a metaphor. It felt like she was hanging all her deepest wounds out for the world to see. Fans were shocked. For years, people had been guessing what Kelly might have gone through, but hearing it straight from her, that hit hard. This wasn't some rumor mill spin. This was her truth. In interviews, Kelly admitted recording Dirty Laundry was one of the hardest things she's ever done. She broke down in the studio. That's how deep the pain ran. She literally couldn't get through the track without crying. Over and over she tried, and each time the tears came before the final note. It was so heavy. When her label played the album for the first time, Kelly couldn't even stay in the room. She walked out before they could hit play on that song. It was just too raw. She said she needed space, real time to heal, before she could sing it like it deserved to be sung. And when she finally laid that track down, you could feel every single ounce of that hurt in her voice. That pain didn't sound staged. It sounded like a lived-in truth that had been sitting on her chest for years. It took days just to finish that one song. Every time she tried, the memories would crash in and she'd break down all over again. But even carrying that emotional weight, Kelly knew she had to let it out. When she told her story, it was raw, real, and fearless. No filters, no cover-ups, just truth. She poured her whole soul into that track, and right at the top of the song, Kelly dropped another bombshell. She straight up admitted she felt jealous of Beyonce's success. After Destiny's Child went on break, Bey shot into superstardom. And Kelly? She was left standing there, trying to figure out her place in the world. She said she was genuinely happy for Bey, no faking that, but deep down she felt completely lost. She didn't know what lane to take, what direction to go, or how to build something that was hers. In the lyrics, she confessed that while her best friend was shining bright in the spotlight, she was stuck in the shadows, hurting, confused, and battling that silence alone. She wanted to feel joy, but inside, she was drowning in pain. Kelly felt like she didn't belong anywhere anymore. The spotlight that once felt natural suddenly seemed miles away. She was caught between who she used to be and who she was trying to become, stuck in that in-between with no map forward. After Dirty Laundry dropped, the internet exploded, trying to figure out who the mystery man in the song was. Most fingers pointed at her ex-fiancé, Roy Williams. But Roy wasn't letting that slide. He jumped on Twitter fast to clear his name. He tweeted that he wasn't the man who abused Kelly and made sure people remembered she had dated other men before him. Roy wasn't trying to catch that heat. He just wanted the record straight. Respectfully, he said he wasn't trying to be part of the drama. He just wanted facts, not rumors, to speak. For years, fans were stuck wondering what was really going on between Kelly and Beyonce. Were they true ride or dies, or just coworkers who made fire tracks together and kept it moving? But Dirty Laundry laid everything bare. Kelly's emotions were messy, no doubt, but even through the pain, the jealousy, and the struggle, one thing came through loud and clear. She still had deep love and respect for Beyonce. Critics gave Kelly major props for being so real. Jared Kennedy from the Los Angeles Times called Dirty Laundry one of the rawest and most honest tracks she's ever released. He said this was Kelly finally stepping out of Beyonce's shadow and carving her own lane in the music game. No more second place, just her truth, full volume. Over at HuffPost, an editor labeled the song powerful, saying it carried a message the world needed to hear. This wasn't just a song, it was real life, wrapped in pain, strength, and vulnerability. Charlie Penn from Essence magazine echoed that energy. She said Kelly's story could really speak to women going through the same struggle, women stuck in toxic love, scared to walk away. And maybe, just maybe, Kelly's truth could give them the push to finally choose themselves. The weight of it all hit Kelly hard, too. She told Billboard it took her days to get through recording Dirty Laundry. She said, "It was very emotional. It took me days to record. I had to get past being so upset and actually sing the song, not sob through it. That pain? It came through the speakers like thunder. Every note told a story." Kelly also opened up about how she hopes her music shines a light for others, just like other artists lit the path for her. One day, her songwriter told her, "I want to write you a record so people will know exactly who you are underneath it all." And that's exactly what they delivered. Renato Ani from Pitchfork gave Kelly her flowers too, respect where it's due. He said Kelly did something brave. She let the world see her most vulnerable side while still standing tall. This wasn't just some sad confession. This was a comeback. She wasn't just telling a story of pain. She was showing the world what a survivor looks like. Even MTV's Jenna Halle Rubenstein had nothing but respect for her. She said it straight, airing out your dirty laundry like that had to be tough. But she believed letting it all out probably helped Kelly finally begin to heal. Jenna gave her full credit for the courage it took to speak her truth, no matter how raw or painful it was. But of course, not everybody clapped. Some folks got real uncomfortable. The song hit way too close to home for some listeners. Talking openly about abuse made a few people uneasy, while others were just shocked that Kelly exposed so much. A handful of fans were straight up heartbroken, hearing what she had silently endured all those years. Still, even with all the mixed feelings, one thing couldn't be denied: Dirty Laundry sparked real conversations. People started talking about domestic abuse and how so many women are suffering in silence, hiding pain behind smiles. Kelly's truth helped shine a spotlight on something way deeper than music. It showed how powerful it can be to speak up, even when it cuts deep. But just when it seemed like everything was finally being aired out, things took a darker turn. In 2019, even more disturbing truth started bubbling to the surface, shocking fans all over again. Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, who also managed Destiny's Child during their rise, dropped a shocking bombshell that left fans speechless. He revealed that both Beyonce and Kelly Rowland were taken advantage of while they were still teenagers on tour in the early 2000s. That admission sparked serious questions about what really happened behind the scenes during those high glamour days. Matthew didn't hold back. He called out two members of the R&B group Jagged Edge, saying they were the ones who crossed the line. According to him, during that tour, the guys acted inappropriately toward Kelly and Beyonce. And the worst part? At the time, both girls were just 16 years old, while the Jagged Edge members were grown men in their early 20s. As their manager, and more importantly, their legal guardian, Matthew took the situation seriously. He said one day, he got a call from the girls. They sounded scared, voices shaking. They said two older men on the tour were making them uncomfortable, pushing boundaries, and they didn't know how to handle it. Matthew didn't wait around. He made a bold move and immediately had both men kicked off the tour bus, right there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. No questions asked, no second chances, just gone. Yeah, it stirred up drama after the fact. But Matthew stood firm. He said protecting the girls came first, no matter what kind of industry backlash came later. For fans, this revelation added yet another dark layer to the reality behind Kelly's fame. It wasn't just music videos and awards. There were real dangers, real trauma, and real moments of fear that were kept quiet for years. This moment pulled back the curtain on how vulnerable young stars can be, even at the top of the charts. So far, none of the people involved, not Beyonce, not Kelly Rowland, and not the men from Jagged Edge, have spoken out about Matthew Knowles' shocking claims. That silence, it's only made things murkier. Nobody's confirmed or denied anything, and fans are left hanging with way too many unanswered questions. But that same year, Beyonce came forward to shut down a different long-standing rumor that had followed Destiny's Child for years. Remember that 2001 interview where folks swore Kelly was high? Her behavior had fans side-eyeing ever since. But Bey finally set the record straight. She made it very clear there were no drugs involved. The girls were just exhausted. They had been doing back-to-back interviews for 16 hours straight with barely any rest or food. That drained energy showed on camera, and people twisted the footage into a whole different narrative that followed Kelly for years. Now fast forward to a more recent controversy. Kelly Rowland caught some major heat online for what seemed like a simple gesture. She dropped a quick comment under Chris Brown's Instagram post, just saying she loved him. That's it. But she had no idea the kind of backlash she was about to walk into. Why the uproar? Because Chris Brown had just dropped a track called Need a Stack, and one lyric in particular set fans off. In the song, he said he only wanted to be with black women who had nice hair. That line hit hard. A lot of fans called it out as colorist, feeling like he was suggesting that only certain hair textures made a woman more desirable. Kelly's comment, though small, landed right in the middle of that firestorm. The internet did not let it slide. Kelly's quick comment suddenly looked like she was backing Chris Brown, whether she meant it that way or not. The timing was bad, and people came for her fast. Later, Kelly explained that she had no clue about the controversial lyrics when she dropped that comment. She said offending anyone was never her intention. But just like that, she was caught in a storm she never saw coming. At the time, Kelly was literally in Australia, just trying to show love and congratulate Chris on breaking a record. That was it. No drama. But the next morning, her phone was blowing up. Message after message, full of heat. At first, she didn't even know what was going on. Then the pieces started falling into place. Fans began resurfacing Chris Brown's history, including some serious past accusations. One of the biggest? That he allegedly denied dark-skinned women entry into VIP sections at clubs. That claim hit the timeline hard, and suddenly Kelly's friendly comment didn't look so innocent to a lot of people. Social media went wild. Some users even got cruel, posting nasty comments like, Chris wouldn't even let someone like Kelly into his club, throwing shots at her skin tone, and suggesting she didn't fit the kind of beauty he supposedly preferred. That stung hard. Kelly was shocked by the wave of hate crashing her way. What started as a casual shout-out had turned into a full-blown online firestorm. It became one of the toughest online moments she's ever faced. But Kelly didn't stay silent. She came forward and cleared the air. She made it very clear. She did not support Chris Brown's lyrics or any message that promotes colorism. Period. She spoke up about how the phrase nice hair or good hair carries deep, painful weight in the Black community. And she shut it all the way down, loud and proud, saying, all hair is good hair. That was her message, and she stood firm on it. Kelly made sure people knew. No one should be judged based on their hair, their skin tone, or how they look. End of story. She admitted the situation opened her eyes and taught her a tough but necessary lesson about how quickly things can spiral online and how important it is to always stand for what's right. In her own words, Kelly said the internet moves way too fast. People jump to conclusions without even knowing the full story. She felt completely blindsided by how quick folks were ready to drag her. No questions asked. Yeah, she was disappointed. Who wouldn't be? But Kelly didn't let the hate break her down. She stood tall and made her stance loud and clear. She does not support colorism, not in any form. Her one and only goal was to show Chris Brown some love for his record-breaking success, not to co-sign any shady lyrics or send the wrong message. That was never her intention, and she wasn't about to let people twist it into something else. More recently, Kelly hit the headlines again, but this time it was for something way lighter. She shared her thoughts on the Netflix series Building the Band, a show with a wild concept. Musicians forming a band without ever meeting in person. Kelly thought it was super creative. But she also playfully admitted she was a little salty she didn't come up with the idea herself. Even though it wasn't her brainchild, Kelly showed nothing but love for it. She said she was genuinely excited to see how it would all unfold, and curious about how these musicians would vibe without ever sharing the same space. Online, the reactions were mixed. Some people thought it was a dope, modern twist, perfect for today's digital world. Others, not so much. They weren't sold. A few fans said it just didn't feel real to build true chemistry without face-to-face connection. But either way, Kelly kept it positive and supportive, just doing what she does best, showing love, staying real, and keeping it moving. Kelly didn't say much about the haters or the mixed reactions to building the band, but if you read between the lines, you could feel the frustration. She clearly wished that bold, fresh idea had been hers. And honestly, who could blame her? It was creative and different. Still, she didn't come off bitter, not one bit. Instead, she kept it classy. She showed nothing but support and genuine curiosity about how the show would turn out. But just when things seemed chill, boom, Kelly got hit with a whole new mess. This time, a fake Instagram account caused straight-up chaos. A scammer was out here pretending to be both Kelly and Beyonce, sliding into fans' DMs asking for money. One of the craziest claims? The scammer said Kelly lost her credit card and needed cash to buy a plane ticket. And to make it even more ridiculous, they promised that if fans helped out, Beyonce would show up too. That's when Kelly found out, and she was not having it. She hopped on her Instagram stories fast, dropped a screenshot of the scam, and shut it all the way down. No waiting, no confusion. She warned her followers to stay sharp and made it crystal clear that message was 100% fake. And in true Kelly fashion, she managed to laugh through the madness. She even joked about how the scammer couldn't spell, writing plane instead of plane. It was a funny moment in the middle of a crazy situation, and she used it to remind everybody if you get a DM asking for money in her name, it's a straight-up scam. The whole fake account mess really had fans on edge. A bunch of people commented online saying they were relieved Kelly spoke out when she did. Some even admitted they'd gotten similar shady messages in the past. Just more proof that scammers love to use celeb names to hustle people out of their cash. It was a major wake-up call for a lot of folks. But even with all that chaos, Kelly and Beyonce didn't let it knock them down. Not long after the scam drama, the two were spotted together at a Broadway show, showing love and support for their girl and fellow Destiny's Child member Michelle Williams. It was a moment of real unity that fans couldn't get enough of. But here's where it gets even deeper. Michelle just so happens to be one of the people who testified against Diddy in his ongoing legal mess. And when people hear Destiny's Child, the first name that pops up is always Beyonce. She's been the face, the voice, the leader since day one. And let's not forget, Beyonce and Jay-Z, the ultimate power couple, have history with Diddy too. Back in the day, nobody threw parties like Diddy. His events were legendary, packed with industry heavyweights, celebs, and VIPs. And yes, Beyonce was reportedly at some of those wild parties in the early 2000s, back when she was still riding high with Destiny's Child. But now that Diddy's name is tangled up in serious federal charges, we're talking trafficking, racketeering, and more, people are starting to look back at those old connections with a whole new lens. The energy around those parties doesn't feel so glamorous anymore, it feels suspicious. Now, some folks are even starting to question Beyonce's early image in the group, realizing her reputation during those Destiny's Child days might not have been as squeaky clean as it looked. Over the years, plenty of insiders have stepped forward claiming that Bey always wanted the spotlight on her. Some say she wasn't too keen on sharing that stage, and one of the people who reportedly felt pushed to the side, Michelle Williams. And now, with these lawsuits, the shocking accusations, and Kelly finally breaking her silence, what used to sound like just wild rumors is starting to feel way more real. If you made it this far, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts on all this drama. Don't forget to share this video with a friend, and we'll catch you in the next one.